I have an amazing name list for you. If you like kind of nature names, boho names, hippie names, those are the kind that you're searching, there is a brand new emerging trend within that whole category that is insanely gorgeous. It is wilderness names. So it's kind of a blend of rewilding, so that sort of back to basics that we really like, and then the nature trends, but it kind of combines the two. So what modern parents don't want is all the frilly fluffiness of a nature name, the kind of sprinkles around the edges, and we're looking for no frills, florals, and real outdoors rugged. But I have some very exciting news for all of us as well, which is that this is a sponsored baby name list. So the lovely team at In for Baby, which is a website that specialises in buggies and prams and everything that you're going to need to get set for the newborn about to be in your life. And there is at the moment 60% off the entire website. So they have sent me their Moto travel system to show you. So I couldn't have done without my travel system that I had for all of my 3 children, and this one is top quality with the 60% off as well. Let me show it to you. So isn't it lovely? It is award-winning actually, this Moto 3-in-1 eye-size travel system. It is so premium, it is fully feature-packed, designed from the ground up for both parent and baby in mind. It's super light and easy, and it allows you to just really move around. It is eye-size compatible, and it has this chrome finish chassis. It's got the carry cot with it, as well as seat units, the car seat, and the rain cover, which we're going to be using a lot. It's suitable from birth up to around 4 years old, so really durable. The carry cot is kind of slightly banked so that their head's raised, so it's really helpful to reduce sickness and colic, which I went through with Evelina and meant she didn't like her butt pram, so this is really good. There's 5 different colours, and there's a little window so you can check on your baby. A huge thanks to In for Baby for letting me share that travel system with you. As I said, their website is on screen now. You can go in there 60% off, so really do encourage you to take advantage of this lovely deal that they've given us on our lovely community. They are Trustpilot approved, they get excellent 5-star ratings, so I really trust this brand is going to be a really safe and good one for you and your baby. I really hope you do, so do let me know if you manage to get your hands on one of these travel systems. Okay, so my first amazing name from this wilderness category is Wild. Quite an obvious one to start with, but this is on so many lists at the moment, but it's not even in the charts. It's totally unranked. I think a lot of people are putting it in the middle spot, so would you be brave enough to use Wild? Again, I think it is so gorgeous for a girl or a boy, and where wild has become kind of used, wilds can be translated as meaning hunter. Hunter obviously being a super popular name at the moment, but the E adds that kind of literary nod to Oscar Wilde, which is really nice if you are kind of more bohemian. Bohemian means a kind of love of the arts and creativity, so wild really does seem to suit. I love that it's got the 2 sides to its meaning, where it's got the kind of wild meaning uninhabited land and that outdoorsy spirit. And we, as you know, we always go on like these kind of off-grid holidays and really get out into the wilderness as a family. Much prefer it than being kind of in like a kind of really lovely hotel, even though wouldn't say no to that either. But I feel like being out in the wild and being out in the nature has got its own feeling, and then that also translates into the personality trait of being wild. We call people wild if they're very free-spirited, if they don't follow the rules. So there's 2 cool things about the name Wild. The next name that is getting a lot of popularity at the moment is the name Haze. So haze, again, is popping up all over the place. It means hedged area, so it's a kind of outdoorsy garden name for boys. I also love hazel for girls, and I feel like a lot of people are putting hazel and haze on their list and saying if I have a girl, it's going to be hazel, if I have a boy, it's going to be haze, because I've seen a few people have mentioned that to me. So what do you think of haze? Do you think it's usable? Is it on your list? I think it's going to keep booming in popularity, so I would get in there quick if you like it. At number 642 on the charts, in with a boom and rising, is the name Sylas. So Sylas is such a gorgeous boy name. I'm obsessed with it. It's like a very modernisation of Simon. It sounds so wearable. We've all kind of heard. I love that it starts and ends with S. It makes it really soft and gentle, but it's not fluffy, is it? Sylas. It's strong. It comes from Sylvanus. It means forest and outdoors. So many of you have this on your list. It's already at number 642. As I said, it is really, really rising. So again, it's probably going to be one of those that isn't super duper unique, which a lot of you are after, something in that kind of sweet spot. And I would say in a couple of years, it's probably going to be in the top 500, which is our real sweet spot. But 642, if you're on the more edgy side of naming, then go for Sylas. Totally unranked girl name, an Irish name, is the name Keela. Really simple, really kind of trendy, seems very bohemian and outdoorsy, but it's got this real wilderness wild spirit to it because it's so offbeat, Keela, and it means a beauty that only poetry can capture. So it's this otherworldly kind of outdoor spirit of this poet can capture this beauty, which is very much like nature. You know, there's some sort of beauty in nature and being outdoors that you can only kind of capture in like music or art. And I feel like that's where the name is perfectly synonymous with that, Keela. What do you think of it? I think it is so pretty. I'd almost be tempted to muck with the spelling on this. And I know that is a pet peeve, but I do love KH. And I think it could look really nice at KH. IELA, but don't do that because then it won't have the same meaning, but you know what I mean. I just think that would look lovely as well. The next name literally translates as good earth. I absolutely love this name. You know, it's the name Avani. So I did a Sanskrit name list a few months ago, and I will link it below if you really want to look more into these names. But Avani, meaning good earth, it's just perfect. It ticks so many boxes. It's got the V that we really like. It's got really easy nicknames of like Ava and things that we love like that, but it's not difficult to say. There are brands that have used Avani, a lot of yoga studios. There's some beauty brands that are called Avani, but I think that's an advantage because it means that we know how to say it. There were 25 girls named Avani last year, so it's not massively up there. So I think she would be the only Avani in her class. The more I say it, the more I love it. I've got Evelina, and I think I would really be tempted to have gone with Avani. If I'd have had this name on my radar back then, I would have really been tempted. I just think it looks absolutely stunning. Next up is a name that I'm really surprised there were only 4 girls called this last year, because again, it is a wilderness name that is everywhere at the moment, and it's the name Bloom. So I've got Blossom in the middle, and I think that fits into the nature frilly stuff. For wilderness, people are going with Bloom. So it's a lot more simple. Wilderness has to be very fuss-free. It is untampered with. It is pared back, isn't it? It is simple. And Bloom is just that. So it's a really interesting name. Again, it's hitting middle spots. I think it will bounce to first spots soon. It's Anglo-Saxon. I looked into the background of it because obviously it's a surname as first name, and actually came from ironmongers, and the word was like blom, and they used to make those, I think, the gilded flower iron things for shields and for religious symbols, and that would have been an occupational name to have been a bloom doing this iron work with florals. So it's really interesting in that way. It makes it quite strong as well as then bloom, a flower that blooms. So I absolutely made me love it even more. Would you go for it? Some people say it's also an occupational name for somebody who worked with flowers. So it's got a real strength and subtlety to it. And I think it could be really, really wearable, but do you? The name Moss is on my list. I have talked about Moss before. There were actually 7 baby boys named Moss last year, so it's getting some use. Interesting, it was all boys, but I really do like it. But I thought you might like, if you're not sort of brave enough to know if you like it, but you're not sure, there is a longer form. You could go with the name Mostyn, which means from mossy settlement, and it's Welsh, so perfectly fits into wilderness. You know, Wales is such a gorgeous landscape, and Mostyn, and it's like Austin. Isn't it cool? I really like it. Or Martin, Mostyn. So that is a Welsh name. So I haven't got the rankings for Wales. So if you are Welsh, you can find the Welsh charts. Let me know if Mostyn is in there, because it's not in the UK yet. Going over to Ireland is the name Tige. So it's spelled like this on screen. So it's Tadhg, and it's pronounced Tige, and it means storyteller. But with its kind of Tige almost sounding like tiger or tide, it just sounds very outdoorsy. And this poet or storyteller, this kind of wandering minstrel type of character around Ireland who would have passed on folklore and folk tales, is such a wilderness type of name. And I just think it's really interesting to see this name getting more popular. It's a 634. And I really like it. It's so short and simple. It's got that unusual spelling, but we aren't afraid of traditional unique spellings. It's when we sort of play around with it a little bit too much. Lily Cole had a wild, but she used WYLDE, and then people were a bit like, oh, but this is the traditional spelling, so absolutely fine to have a difficult spelling, just not a played around one with, is what people are saying. I don't mind either. You know, I'm like very permissive. I don't mind, spell it how you like. But I really like it. And then I had to put the name Nettie on the list. Nettie, I mean, with Nelly, it's become really popular. All these TTIE endings have, but not Nettie, and I really like it. It means clean, but it obviously does have that spirit of outdoors with net, and it's a short form of a lot of names like Henrietta or Jeanette, so you'll hear it a lot more in Scandinavia, sort of the outdoorsy Scandiness has got to me. Nettie, I just think it is so nice, and you must have a little vintage gem on here somewhere. And the last one I have is the name Pen. So Pen is a really unusual name for boys. So Pen Badgley is obviously gaining a lot of fame, and I think he'll make this name more wearable. And it means, it's got two names, it's Celtic, and it was occupational, where it meant somebody who would have kept the animals in the pen. So that's kind of a bit strange, or it kind of means, some people were saying it kind of means settlement. Near that sort of small enclosure. So it's an interesting name. I don't know if being penned in makes me like it, but it is really associated with William Penn, who founded Pennsylvania. And if you are going to go for a namesake, then Pennsylvania seems to be a place that was really founded on tolerance. So in a way, that's a good thing to be named after Pennsylvania, Penn, but to me it just really feels wilderness, outdoorsy. And with Penny being so popular for girls, I feel like Penn is going to be where we leap to next. So a massive thank you again to InfoBaby for sponsoring a baby name list. Woohoo! Do take advantage of their 60% off. That is absolutely massive. A huge thank you to those guys for being involved and for sharing the discount with you. Let me know if you go ahead with any of these names, and what more names would you add to this theme. I will be following up over on Instagram, Baby Name Envy, you can find us there. There's podcasts, there's Pinterest, there's all sorts going on for baby names. I will see you on the next one. Bye guys.